Hi, I'm Ross Quintana with Social Magnets, and welcome to our video. This video is called "The Power of Being Real," and this is just a quick summary of some of the points we're just going to dig into in this blog post. And you can see the full 40-minute video for this. There'll be links below, and then I have additional on my YouTube channel. You'll be able to see where I take each one of these bullet points and go a little more in depth as well. So plenty of content for you surrounding this topic. This concept of the power of being real in this blog post is, I start off and I'm going to touch 4 points. One is brands or ideas. The other one is marketing to tell stories, the unseen effect of relationships, and humans behind and humans in front. And so let's just dig in here real quick. The first concept that I dig into in this is this concept of brands being ideas. And when we understand the process of how our brands are translated and how we, if you're your brand or if you have a product or service, how that's translated into the mind of strangers, the mind of your prospects. It starts off with this concept of connection and the personification of brands. Brands have been doing this for a long time. They've been out there trying to tell you that the insurance company is your friend, or that they care about you, or that the box of cookies is really fun to be around, and all these things that brands do. It's gotten to the point where it's so far away now that to me, I find it disingenuous, and I find it kind of annoying when a whole commercial will be centered around something, someone having a baby, and then it flashes over to something else and says, check out our auto parts, or check out something else that has nothing to do with the other. That's where it crosses over to manipulation and tactics. They've realized that if I can just make you feel something, then I can try and make you associate that with our product, even though our product has nothing to do with that, and our product doesn't deserve to have those type of attachments. It becomes just a manipulation to control the prospect and get them to feel something that's disingenuous about a brand. And it doesn't have to be that way. It can be done a lot smarter. The thing is that people, before we get into brands our ideas, what we get into is the concept of connection. People are more interested in other people than they are in products, and that's why the human side of marketing can be very powerful if done correctly, and if not used as a manipulation tool. Because if a person has if a person, I kind of picture a caveman or something, if they see a person or they see an object, I think they're generally going to be more interested in this new person, this strange person. Who is this? Because there's a sense of connection there, that we're human and we want to connect with other people. And the key is that your marketing has to be consistent, so that way that it's genuine, and so that'll seep out, that humanness will seep out into that brand. And that's what really makes a connection with people. People don't hug robots, they hug other people. And so it's important to understand that if brands are ideas, then you have to get clear on what your idea is and how it connects with people on a human level. And when you do that, you can be consistent and genuine and real. And when you're real, people will connect with you. And when you're not, as they draw closer, they're going to see, oh, this looked real, it's like an illusion. But you get closer and you go, oh, that's not even real. And that works the opposite for a brand, and that's what happens with a lot of people's marketing. Even if they actually are not intending that way, the tactics that they use, the tactics that real people use that get spammy and all this, make them seem like an object and not a person. So the next part in this blog post we talk about is marketing to tell stories, because we've heard that. But the key is understanding why. It's the difference, but it's about context. A story creates a context for ideas. And if those ideas are human, then those connections will happen. And more importantly, they'll be remembered. And those connections will be remembered. You know, everybody remembers their family and their friends. But brands, that's another battle that's going on. And people want to be able to break into that area of family and friends, family, if I will. And yet, you know, it's not going to happen by accident. It happens by design, and it also happens easily for those people who are real and who are genuine. That will seep out through there, and those things will happen. But you can put that into your plan. Just make sure that you understand that your brand, you know, quality will rise to the top, and you know, that when you put all these pieces together. So all these pieces are kind of separated, and people talk about storytelling, people talk about branding, and people talking about being human and human connections and all these things, but they're not putting them together to see the beautiful orchestra of how all these things come together and why they come together and how that works. And when you get that understanding, succeeding becomes a lot easier. You know, we compare this to manipulation and tactics. I've said before, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to need great tools, tactics, and strategies. Because that a lot of times replaces understanding. Now, when you have understanding, you can then use tools, tactics, and strategies, but it's in a whole different way. Because you understand the big picture. It's like putting a puzzle together. If you know what the puzzle's supposed to look like, you got that picture on the box, then it makes each piece relevant in a different way when you're assembling it. But most marketers, they don't know what the picture on the box is. And, you know, they need, oh, hey, what tools do you use? Hey, who cares? Who cares what tools I use? They may not be the same tools for you. Who cares what the 5 top tools are? That's not relevant if you don't understand what they do functionally and why you'd want to do that in the big picture. And if you don't have all these other things down together, just knowing about a tool isn't going to help you. So we try and start with the foundation of understanding. And that's kind of the approach that I take. So next point we are going to talk about in this blog post is the unseen effect of relationships and what it means. What is that human connection, and what is that happening when people connect? And tell me about trust, about perception, about loyalty. These are all things that are totally required and in many ways desired and sought after through marketing. But if you don't bring them back and boil them down to the human element, then you're not going to understand it. You're trying to create a robot that hugs people, and people want to hug a real person. And instead of trying to say, well, the mechanics, we need it to close a certain amount and a certain amount of pressure, or you'll squeeze somebody too hard, you know, that's very mechanical. And most people's marketing is very mechanical. They don't understand the value of trust and all of the little tributaries that feed into trust. And when I do a website analysis for people or something, I'm looking at it, I can see right away problems. They say, well, what about conversion? I'm like, well, look at the things that you're doing. You're trying to grab and take from people before you've even considered them or added them and what they want into the equation, and they can smell that and they don't trust you. And that's why they're not pressing your button. You know, then we look at perception. You know, the value of, let's take a friend. You trust a friend. You'll do things with a friend that you won't do with a stranger or with a brand. And the perception is different. If their friend is offering something they don't know what it is, there's that trust. And there's the perception of who that friend is, right? To decide, even if someone's giving you a referral, whether or not you're interested. If someone you really respect tells you, hey, check out this book or check out this movie, it's really good. You know who they are, and you trust them, and when you have that together, you have the context and the trust, and you're going to listen and take action upon that. The mechanics of that are the same when we're doing business, but if you don't understand that and you don't take that into account, then forget about it. You've just got elements, but you don't know how they work together. You know, you've got a bag full of gears, but you don't know how to assemble them so that you create something in effect. The last point that we talk about is humans behind and humans in front. And that's really this concept of looking at how marketing is done traditionally, where you have humans in the marketing department or somewhere who created something, many times disconnected from the product, from the company itself in many ways, and the leadership, but there's the marketing company. And they're impersonal, and in a way they're coming up with things that seem human, right? But they're not coming at it. It's not like the owner came up with that idea, who knows the product, the product is their baby, and he weaves or she weaves the story of the brand into that marketing. Then the human element and aspects of that marketing come out, but they're interwoven. Most of the time you got marketing companies and outsourced people and people who don't take the time to understand the company. They're just going to come up with a creative idea. I mean, the perfect example is that of Super Bowl commercials. They've gotten so far gone, and for a moment they kind of were really awesome. I thought they were great. People looked forward to them. And now it's so little about the product and so much about just random creative ideas that it's disconnected, and it no longer gels, and it no longer has a real impact. And I've been disappointed over the last few years, for the most part, of what they've put out. So this is this example, and it's the difference between having a human that's behind the marketing and having a human that's in front of the marketing, and a human who's delivering it. It's a difference from throwing something to somebody and handing it and putting it in their hand and making sure that they got it. So I hope you check out this blog post, share it, leave your comments. I want to hear what you have to say about it. I love to dig in and engage on this. Share it with your network, get people thinking and talking, and hit subscribe. Like I said, on our YouTube channel, you'll be able to check out all the additional stuff, and we'll add some additional links there throughout the week that kind of promote this concept that we're talking about in this blog. So I hope you enjoy it. Till next time, I'll see you later.